A diplomatic standstill. The Thoran diplomat Zorak was an imposing figure, towering over the human delegation, with a sneer that displayed his razor-sharp teeth. As he docked at the seemingly primitive human space station, his talons clicked against the bulkhead, a sound that echoed with condescension. He had little respect for these pitiful apes, believing that the mighty Thoran Empire could easily subjugate them. As Zorak and his aide entered the cramped meeting room, they were greeted by a human delegation led by Ambassador Davis. The station's cheap alloys and outdated technology further fueled Zorak's disdain. He leaned forward, mandibles twitching with arrogance, and declared, "The Thoran Empire has no use for your pathetic species. Submit or perish." Ambassador Davis met Zorak's gaze with a calm, measured intensity. The humans had come prepared, not to grovel, but to stand their ground. "Clarify your statement," Davis said, his voice steady. "Are you threatening us?" Zorak's grin widened, his mandibles spreading as he slammed his clawed fist onto the table, leaving deep scratches. "You still don't get it, do you?" he mocked. "The Thoran Empire is the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. We've conquered countless worlds and enslaved their populations. Your planet is next." Davis's face remained an unreadable mask. "So just to be clear," he said, "the Thoran Empire is threatening to invade and conquer Earth." Zorak laughed harshly, the sound grating against the metal walls. "Threaten? No, human. This is a promise. Your world will be ours, and your people will serve us." He rose from his chair, towering over the humans. "You have 1 Earth week to surrender unconditionally. After that, our fleet will arrive to claim our prize." The human delegation watched in silence as Zorak left the room, his confidence unshaken. They knew the stakes were high, and Earth's fate hung in the balance. As the doors closed behind him, Davis turned to his team. "We have a week to prepare," he said, his voice resolute. "Let's make sure they're in for a surprise." The Thoran fleet arrives. Zorak stood on the bridge of the Thoran flagship, the Conqueror, as it emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. The fleet of over 1,000 warships was an awe-inspiring sight, a testament to the Thoran Empire's might. As the ships advanced toward Earth, Zorak's confidence remained unshaken. "All ships, advance," he commanded, his voice filled with authority. "These humans will offer no resistance. We will crush them swiftly and claim their world." As the Thoran fleet approached Earth's orbit, Zorak noticed a small group of human ships positioned defensively. He scoffed, amused by their apparent naivety. "Look at their pitiful fleet," he sneered. "They think they can stand against us with those tiny ships." He ordered all ships to open fire, eager to end this quickly and enjoy the spoils of conquest. The Thoran fleet unleashed a barrage of energy weapons and missiles, expecting the human ships to be obliterated. However, the human vessels absorbed the attack with surprising resilience. Their shields flared, deflecting the Thoran fire with ease. Zorak's eyes widened in disbelief as the human ships began to maneuver with incredible agility, darting around the Thoran fleet like a swarm of angry bees. "Impossible," Zorak muttered, his fingers gripping the armrests of his chair. The human ships retaliated, their weapons cutting through Thoran shields like paper. The Conqueror shuddered under the impact, alarms blaring throughout the bridge. "Damage report," Zorak barked, his voice tinged with panic. The tactical officer responded, "Shields down to 60%, sir. We've lost power to the forward weapons array." Zorak slammed his fist down in frustration. "Concentrate all fire on those human ships. Launch all fighter squadrons." But the human ships continued their relentless assault, their movements precise and coordinated. They seemed to anticipate every Thoran maneuver, striking with devastating efficiency. The battle raged on, the Thoran fleet finding itself on the defensive. Zorak's mind raced, struggling to comprehend how these primitive humans could possess such advanced technology and tactics. The Conqueror shook violently as another barrage of human weapons struck it, and Zorak knew they were in serious trouble. The humans had prepared for this, and the Thoran Empire's arrogance had blinded them to the threat. Unraveling the Thoran defense, the Bridge of the Conqueror was in chaos. Consoles exploded, and crew members scrambled to contain the damage. Zorak, still reeling from the unexpected turn of events, barked orders to his officers. All remaining ships, regroup. We need to reassess our strategy. But the chaos and confusion were too much, and the human fleet continued its relentless assault. The human ships, much smaller and more agile than the Thoran vessels, danced around them with precision. They targeted weak points in the Thoran defenses, exploiting vulnerabilities with uncanny accuracy. Zorak's frustration grew as he watched the tactical display. The Thoran fleet was being decimated, their numbers dwindling rapidly. "Sir, we've lost the Devastator and the Ravager," the tactical officer reported, his voice barely audible over the alarms. "The human ships are closing in on our position." Zorak felt a cold knot of fear tighten in his chest. The Thoran Empire had never faced a defeat like this. Their technology and military might had always been unrivaled. Yet here they were being systematically dismantled by a species they had considered inferior. As the human fleet pressed their advantage, Zorak's mind raced. How could this be happening? The Thoran Empire's arrogance had blinded them to the possibility that the humans could pose a real threat. Now, they were paying the price. Zorak clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price. Amidst the chaos, the view screen flickered, and the face of Ambassador Davis appeared. His expression was calm but steely, a stark contrast to the turmoil on the Conqueror's bridge. "Admiral Zorak," Davis said, his voice steady and authoritative, "the human fleet has neutralized over half of your vessels. Earth's defenses are fully prepared to repel any further attacks. I demand that you surrender immediately or face complete annihilation." Zorak stared at the screen, his mind reeling. Surrender to the humans. The very thought was unthinkable. But as he looked around the bridge, seeing the fear and desperation in his crew's eyes, he realized they had no other choice. The humans had proven themselves far more capable and resilient than he had ever imagined. They had to surrender or face total destruction. The realization. Zorak's voice was barely a whisper as he ordered, "Stand down." The words were bitter on his tongue, a harsh acknowledgement of their defeat. The Thoran fleet had been outmaneuvered, outgunned, and outmatched by a species they had dismissed as weak. The realization stung, a blow to the Thoran Empire's pride and arrogance. As the remaining Thoran ships powered down their weapons and disengaged, the human fleet maintained their positions, watching warily. The battle had been a harsh lesson in humility for the Thorans. Their belief in their own superiority had blinded them to the possibility that the humans could be anything more than a minor nuisance. Now, they understood just how wrong they had been. Ambassador Davis's image remained on the screen, his expression unreadable. "Admiral Zorak," he said, his voice measured, "we will escort your fleet out of Earth's orbit. Any attempt to engage will be met with force. Do you understand?" Zorak nodded, the weight of his failure pressing heavily on him. "I understand," he replied, his voice flat. The humiliation of surrendering to the humans was overwhelming. But there was no other choice. The Thoran Empire had underestimated them, and now they were paying the price. As the human ships escorted the defeated Thoran fleet out of the Sol system, Zorak couldn't help but reflect on the arrogance that had led them here. The humans had proven themselves to be far more capable and resourceful than anyone in the Thoran Empire had ever imagined. Their technology, tactics, and sheer determination had caught the Thorans completely off guard. The journey back to Thoran space was a somber one. The crew, once so confident and proud, now sat in silence, their heads bowed in shame. They had been taught a harsh lesson in humility and the consequences of underestimating an opponent. The Thoran Empire would have to reevaluate their approach to the humans and the galaxy at large. The aftermath. As news of the battle spread through the galaxy, reactions varied. Some species were shocked that the mighty Thoran Empire had been bested by a supposedly primitive race. Others were emboldened, seeing the humans' victory as a sign that the Thorans were not invincible. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and the implications were profound. On Earth, the mood was one of cautious celebration. The humans had won a major victory, but they knew the Thoran threat was far from over. They had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated, but they also understood that this victory had painted a target on their backs. Earth's leaders met to discuss the future, knowing that they had to be prepared for whatever came next. Ambassador Davis, now hailed as a hero, addressed the global community. "We have proven that we are not weak," he said. "We have shown that we can stand against any threat and protect our world. But this victory is just the beginning. We must continue to grow, to learn, and to prepare. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and we cannot afford to be complacent." In the Thoran Empire, the mood was somber. The defeat at the hands of the humans had been a blow to their pride and prestige. The leadership held emergency meetings, trying to understand how their supposedly superior technology and tactics had failed so spectacularly. There was talk of retribution, of regrouping and launching a new offensive, but there was also a growing realization that the humans were not to be taken lightly. Zorak, now disgraced and stripped of his command, returned to the Thoran homeworld. He knew his career was over, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this defeat was just the beginning. The humans had shown a resilience and ingenuity that the Thoran Empire had never encountered before. They had changed the game, and now the Thorans would have to adapt or risk losing their dominance. Reflections and resolutions. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth and its allies began to strengthen their defenses. They knew that the Thoran Empire would not take their defeat lightly, and that a counterattack was likely. Earth's scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to improve their technology, reverse engineering the Thoran weapons and integrating them into their own systems. The human fleet, now hailed as heroes, received a hero's welcome as they returned to Earth. They had proven themselves in battle, and their bravery had saved the planet from certain doom. But they also knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was full of dangers, and they had to be ready for whatever came next. As Earth's leaders met to discuss their next steps, there was a sense of urgency. The victory had given them a brief respite, but they knew it wouldn't last. They had to build alliances, strengthen their defenses, and prepare for the next threat. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and they couldn't afford to be caught off guard again. Meanwhile, in the Thoran Empire, the leadership struggled to come to terms with their defeat. The humans had proven themselves far more capable than anyone had expected, and the Thorans had paid the price for their arrogance. There was talk of revenge, of launching a new offensive to reclaim their lost honor. But there was also a growing realization that the humans were not to be underestimated. Zorak, now a pariah in the eyes of his people, watched from the sidelines as the Thoran leadership debated their next move. He knew that they would not give up easily, that they would regroup and come back stronger. But he also knew that the humans were not to be underestimated. They had proven themselves to be a formidable opponent, and the Thorans would have to be prepared for a long and difficult struggle. A new era. The battle between the humans and the Thorans had changed the galaxy forever. The balance of power had shifted, and the old certainties had been upended. The humans, once dismissed as a primitive and insignificant species, had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with. They had shown that they could stand up to even the mightiest of empires and come out victorious. As Earth's leaders looked to the future, they knew that they had to be ready for whatever came next. They had to build alliances, strengthen their defenses, and continue to innovate. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and they couldn't afford to rest on their laurels. The humans had proven themselves in battle, but the real test was yet to come. The Thoran Empire, meanwhile, licked its wounds and prepared for the future. They had been humbled, but they were not defeated. They would regroup, rearm, and come back stronger. They knew that the humans were a formidable opponent, but they were determined to reclaim their lost honor. The battle had been a harsh lesson, but it was one that they would learn from. As the two sides prepared for the next phase of their conflict, the galaxy watched with bated breath. The humans had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, and the Thorns were not about to give up easily. The stage was set for a new era of conflict and cooperation, of discovery and danger. The humans had made their mark on the galaxy, and now it was up to them to shape their own destiny.